What's good, YouTube? It's your boy C Million, and yes, I'm sorry. I'm back in the vampire lair. I recuperated with the vampire girl from that one story time. I'm sorry, it was just too good to pass up. But that's neither here nor there. I started thinking about something, right? I started thinking about how people interact on the internet, especially Twitter, and how like we all know what Twitter is, right? Like I'm not gonna beat around the bush, and I'm not gonna beat the dead horse either. We know what Twitter is about. It's not a place for discussion. It's not a place for communities to come together and discuss things. It's not a place for civil engagement. It is a place for people to come tell you that you're wrong or to bash each other, but more so the latter. And I started thinking about the validity and the amount of weight that some of these bashing and disagreements carry. Like how much, especially towards me, right? How much do these takes and these comments, how much do they matter? And I really came to the conclusion on my own whim that 99.9% of the shit that you see that is directed towards you specifically, any negativity directed towards you on the internet is completely fucking baseless and useless. Like all of it. It's best to just assume that. Like I'm not saying like that's the case all the time. Obviously some context is needed, but I gotta go to the like extreme of it just to be on the safe side because that most likely is the case. And I came to that conclusion by myself just off a straight up ego. But I recently had a Twitter encounter that kind of solidified it. And I'm going to show you it right here. All right, guys, welcome to hell. So, to give you guys a little bit of context, this is under a Linus Tech Tips tweet. If you don't know who Linus Tech Tips is, I don't know how. He's one of the most famous tech tubers. He does videos on PCs and stuff like that. And you know, me being the nerd that I am, that I want to tap in and talk about PCs. I usually don't even discuss computers on the internet because that's one of those things where people just be saying shit just to be saying shit. But that's neither here nor there. I'm hearing this discussion. Someone had asked, you can't see the tweet, but someone above the first tweet had asked, he was like, I don't want a free PC. I just want a decent budget mid range build for photo editing. And this guy stepped up to the challenge. You know, this is a common occurrence. Someone asks for a PC build, someone delivers with a general idea and some prices, yada, yada, yada. All right, some general PC topic of discussion stuff, yada, yada. He says decent CPU, 16 gigabytes of high speed RAM. That's the minimum though. A GPU isn't necessary, but most CPUs don't have integrated CPU, a motherboard, a power supply, and a case with some good airflow. There's not there, I disagree with nothing here. I would say that 16 gigabytes of high speed RAM. Yeah, no, he's perfect. I was gonna say something about the RAM, but no. Like if we're talking mid range, 16 gigabytes of high speed RAM, that's the minimum you should do if you're doing any type of photo editing because you got to do rendering stuff like that. A lot of that is like RAM heavy and CPU heavy. There was a lot of debate about whether or not a GPU is necessary, but I didn't really want to get into that because when it comes to GPUs, it's like the LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry of PCs, right? Everybody wants to talk about graphics card because you're not talking about just tech heads now. You're talking about gamers, Bitcoin miners, everyone, you know what I'm saying? Everyone who uses a graphics card wants to chime in on the graphics card discussion and they don't really have all, they don't have all the knowledge to talk about it. So I don't even bother with that. But I figured I can chime in, because the guy said that there aren't many integrated CPUs, but I gave him some pretty good ones, right? I said some good integrated CPUs with graphics on them, sorted by core count is Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, i7, i5. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving him ideas here, like just bouncing some prices off the top of his head, and I'm keeping in mind the mid-range budget that the original tweet set. And I also said, hey, don't listen to that other guy who said that a GPU is necessary because it's definitely not. If you want a graphics card or can't find a CPU that fits your wallet, try to find a 10 or 16 series card or equivalent from AMD. If you're strictly doing 1080p photos, though, don't even bother with it. Just had to throw that in there, you know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't help myself. I had to hop into the GPU debate. There are people telling this poor bastard, you need a graphics card to do video editing. Like, no, bro. He said mid-range build, you know what I'm saying, that can do some decent photo editing. Mind you, I know I said video editing. I meant to say photo editing. He said strictly photo editing. So yeah, there's people telling him that he needs a graphics card for that. Like it's absolutely necessary. Like he's gonna fucking die. Like he's gonna be fucking a troll under the bridge. He's gonna go out of business if he doesn't get a graphics card for photo editing. Like no, that's just not the case. And then here come this guy, right? After I made my suggestion of CPUs, here comes some random guy who didn't discuss anything. He wasn't in the thread. He just came. He just seed his way into the conversation. He said, "A Ryzen 5 5600G is stupidly overkill for editing photos." And some dumb motherfucker had the audacity to like that shit. Now, mind you, the Ryzen 5 is, I think, yeah, it's the cheapest one that I recommended. And there's a multitude of reasons for that. And I'm not going to get into it. Just know I did it for a reason. The Ryzen 5 5600G is one of the newer CPUs, but it's not that new. It's the mid-range one. You know, like the guy fucking asked for. So then, instead of like, you know, getting disrespectful, doing the original, like, you know, the Twitter thing where I just like hit him with the ratio plus young boy better, I was curious, you know, and I suggest you guys do this too. When someone disagrees with you, call them out on their bullshit. I asked them, well, what do you suggest? Now the ball is in his court. You want to challenge my ideas? I'm really curious because I actually did my research here. Like I do photo editing myself, so I have experience, but I felt like that wasn't enough. I looked up some of the prices, looked up what are some mid-range CPUs, whether or not they're good for, you know, rendering, stuff like that. I actually put a lot more effort than maybe I should have, but I wanted to make sure that this guy gets a, you know, good recommendations. Because when you're building a PC, it's a big purchase. You want to come out with a quality product. You don't want to come out overspending or underspending, or even worse, overspending on a product that's not, you know, functional. So I was very confident. And because of my confidence, I was able to challenge him. I said, what do you suggest? And the response is why I made this video in the first place. It literally just goes all the way back to why I said 99% of the criticisms or negative comments you get, yada, 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 is just fucking bullshit. And why you shouldn't even take it serious because it's coming from a place of blissful ignorance. He was respectful though. I'm going to spoil it for you, but here it is. He says, I think that's actually the cheapest CPU available at the moment with integrated graphics. So that. Wow. What a fucking waste of time. You came all the way, scroll down just to say that. I actually, you know, I was disappointed. You think this would be a gotcha moment, a fucking win here for me? But you would think I'm undefeated here, like I'm the fucking Twitter world reigning championship, but really I just felt empty after reading this. I felt confused. And I was like, you sound so confident. I thought it was, not only was it overkill, but it's stupidly overkill. Yet here you are recommending it. It's almost like I took into account the market and the economy of the CPUs right now. It's almost like I actually did my research and looked up what you can actually buy. Because yes, are there CPUs that you'll be able to get away with that are cheaper? Yeah. Are they on the market? No. Where are they? eBay. We're spending the same amount of money any fucking way. I'm just glad he you know what I'm saying? Like this is one of the more tame responses, right? This could have been a lot worse. But it's on the other side of the spectrum where he just like he realized where he was wrong, and it just looks stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, yo, you should get A. No, don't get A. Get B. Well, why do you say that? Well, actually, no, get A. Like that's basically what this Twitter thread looks like now. But I just wanted to bring this up. Like I know what you're thinking. Like, oh, one instance doesn't determine another. You shouldn't really assume that not everyone knows what they're talking about. Yes, But this is one of many examples, and I can only archive so much, and I've been in this situation multiple times, just with a lot more disrespect, and also the thread would be a lot longer. Like the videos would be like 20 minutes, but this is just one of many examples, and it also just highlights how like it doesn't even matter how confident someone is, they can definitely be wrong. Because he just comes out of nowhere, like, yeah, it's stupidly overkill. And on top of that, someone likes it too. So there's some idiot out there who didn't get the update who agrees with him. So I mean, it just adds fuel to the fire. But yeah, just wanted to talk about that. See y'all later.